think a lot of people are hesitant to even talk because most people don't listen,
Mm-hmm.
right? How I always thought of Aaron, and my dad said it the best way. It's like people in music, they don't like listening to professionals because they think that they're trying to kind of like hijack it,
Mm-hmm.
right? When they see talent and just take advantage of it. There may be some of that somewhere, but in my experience, it's like, dude, it's like you're not going to go to the doctor and start telling him that you know more. I mean, especially when you're 19 years old. So I've always been, and I would dedicate this to Waldorf, a very good listener. Uh, so when you mean Aaron one day sat me down, well, all of us down, and he was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna ask you like a few questions here. You can like let's be honest, right?" And he was like, "Do you want?" He's like, "What's the point of you doing music?" I said, "Well, I like it." I said, "Okay. Do you want to make money or do you want to have fun?" I was like, "Well, it's got to be a bit of both, right?" My naive self, where
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Hold on, you want it as a career or a hobby?" I was like, "Ideally, I'd like it to be my career." And he's like, "Okay. Um, with that being said, are you willing to invest tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, and potentially never see it back? And if you do, it won't be for a long time."
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're actually faced with that question from somebody who's 20 years older than you,
Mm-hmm.
right, you're kind of like, whoa, right? And I was like, thinking of my 11-year-old self being naive and just wanting to, just be in a band and everything. And I was like, did I actually want it? You mean? Or am I just enamored with the idea? You mean? I was just like, my heart was like, I want it. Like like some people are just born artists, right? You can't take them away from it. So I was like, yes, I would be willing to do that. So that day, he just kind of just delivered it to me, and all of us kind of what it actually takes to be an artist, or not just an artist, but a successful musician, as in having a career,
Mm-hmm.
right? So from kind of there on out, my relationship with him, as it's gone from a band to a duo to now just him and I, um, it speaking of I need more, right? You don't even want to know how many times I've heard that. It's like I need more zing. You mean I need you more conviction. I need that with like 8-hour vocal sessions. And then when I write songs, I'll show him. And not that his opinion is the end all and be all, because I think in music people have different check boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Truly,
Mm-hmm.
right? What makes one great song great is different to what makes another great song great, and that's why I think about like a Nickelback number one is a lot different than a Harry Styles number one,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they're both number one, and I just use number one not just as an example of like a song that does well because it connects with people, right? Um, so from with my relationship with him over the last few years, he's definitely guided me, had my best interest in mind, been very honest when it's good. You mean he'll tell he's a hard person to impress,
Mm-hmm.
truly, right? But when it's good, he tells me, and when it's bad, not that it's ever bad, right? But when it's like it's not who you can be.
Mm-hmm.
He lets me know that as well. It's not like he's like that's trash, that's garbage, right? Because I'm in a position now where I want to sound pretentious, but like I have a consistent quality of writing.
Mm-hmm.
You mean it's never going to be trash. It's just is that the best that you can do, right? Is that raising the bar, right? And and when I'm not, he lets me know, and when I am, he applauds me for it. So I've been very lucky to have the relationship that I do with him because if it wasn't like he's a integral part to my artistic
Mm-hmm.
development.
Well, and you hit on so many things there, but I think the first one is find yourself people like that and surround them with you. It's
Yeah.
a good creative. You talked about it that like musicians, people who do this are always afraid of the professionals hijacking it and
Mm-hmm.
making it their own. But if you're ever afraid of that, that's not the person to work with. One, they haven't made you comfortable, that they're just trying to amplify your sound.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sitting there afraid that they're going to hijack your music, you need to be stop whatever it is you're doing, have the conversation with them, because if you're going into the studio with that feeling, whatever's coming out the other end, it,
Yeah.
it's not where it could be or should be. It is instead, you being hesitant and them forcing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what you were talking about, your relationship with the engineer, he's putting his sound on it by what he's doing. He's putting his mark on it, but he's only doing it to amplify you.
Yes, yeah, his fingerprints are there
Exactly.
for sure.
So the the I
Also,
no, please.
I don't say fingerprints as in like he doesn't do a lot. I mean like his influence is very much there, and like we obviously he's the hands-on producer, but we I wouldn't say I'm a producer. I would say I'm a hands-off producer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right? It's very much there, right? It's a collaboration, but he you know I mean he's like he has such an ear for production. He has such an ear for harmony. He has such an ear for just all the bells and whistles that will just make it like feel like it's in another dimension of things. Um, and one thing I kind of wanted to mention about like the whole thing about hijacking and artists and like Adele said it when her new album came out like last
Mm-hmm.
year. And she was like, "There's not." She's like, "This is why I haven't released an album in 6 years." But she's like, there's no value on integrity in artists anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, if you're an actual artist, like an actual artist, right? It has to come from that place, and that's one of the things that I've kind of realized a lot more recently. Is I find there's a lot of people um, who are great musicians,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not artists as people, and like the people that I look up to, right? Um, like, I mean, you look at a guy like Bob Dylan or Johnny Cash, like that. You mean that like, you don't look at him. He's like, oh, he's a guitar player. He's a musician. Like, no, that guy is an artistic human being,
Mm-hmm.
right? Staple of culture, right? Or just a staple as there's something special about that person. So when I write songs, um, it's not like I wake up every day and it's like, well, how am I feeling? Am I feeling happy? Well, let's write about walking to the store. It's like no, like I I really try to do the Rick Rubin thing where the first bit of work is hard.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, there's hard work and there's head work. First, just throw up. You mean
Mm-hmm.
start, just let it out, and whatever comes out, and then later make it make sense, right? So that's a lot of what I do. I don't just like write every day. It's like, well, I'm sad, so I'll write sad today, or I'm happy, or I'm angry, or I'm excited. It's not about just emotions. It's about like events. And I base it off like my actual life. It's not just like I know. I think like a song like "Hurt"
Mm-hmm.
or a song I don't know like "Sign of the Times," Harry Styles, or "Fix You" by like Coldplay, like "Let It Be."
Mm-hmm.
McCartney, man, you want to talk about an artist? You mean a guy that just one never misses, but two, it never feels like disingenuine or just like another song,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what I'm trying. He is so much more than like if there's any guys a king of not Michael Jackson, but king of pop, right, so to speak, right? That guy's written more songs than like anybody, right? So that's what I always try. I never want to push something in people's face. Like I don't want to be like, hey, here's my new song. Let me push it in your face and blah 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 and solicit myself. Um, if it's just another song, if it just doesn't mean anything, like my whole point, um, my whole mission statement as an artist, because I couldn't justify it any other way. Truly, for me, wanting people to like who I am,
Mm-hmm.
it has to I have to believe that it can mean something to people in the way that artists when I was 11 years old meant something to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the whole reason I do it, because I knew at such a young age what an artist could do and give you like that sense of purpose and direction and comfort and relatability, um, and just like almost safety in a way. You mean because without music, right, I don't want to think about like the person I'd be,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the state of the world, right?
Yeah.
But that's my mission statement truly, because I know how important it is, and if I am ever lucky enough or grateful enough or privileged enough, not grateful but just privileged enough to get to that position where I can mean so much to so many, or just even a few, right? There's not one world. There's just 7 billion different versions of it. That's why now we're getting to like the bottom line, but like really that's why I do it. It's because there's just so much noise.
Mm-hmm.
You mean
Yeah.
that's what Matty Healy 975 was talking about. He was like I get the escapism thing, but he was like I just can't justify it to myself You mean if it's like you mean like I can write a song and it's just not great, but like it might do well?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not an accurate representation of who I am and if I actually can make a difference to people. Right? He's like I can't just use my platform as like a multi-platinum selling recording artist and just put a song out because I think it will do well.
Mm-hmm.
He's like that's not the artist or like when you get to that point, if you do that, like you're not even an artist anymore. Like you mean you're a
Yeah.
business, right? Anyways, you go.
No, there are other things I want to talk to you about,
Yes.
but I want to save them because there's nowhere to go from there. Thank you for joining us here at Unbowed. Remember to smash that subscribe button, like the video, and give us a comment. We upload videos 3 times a week. This is interviews and footage from our concerts. If you like what we're doing here at Unbowed, please consider becoming a subscriber. This helps us produce more concerts, support the community, and shine spotlights on independent artists. Subscribers gain access to our full and unedited videos, full concert videos, and our Discord server, where a number of the artists that we work with hang out and chat.